This is one of the best betting races, guys. You got about a 4-to-1 favorite in this race.
Yeah, I think you look at this race and then the Turf Sprint. They're going to add up to two of the best betting races over the 2 days. Let's start with Bulls Bay in this division. This morning here at Santa Anita, going 5 furlongs with Jeremy Rose aboard and will work in company.
Certainly will. He's going to work with a horse called Smart Bid. He's a 3-year-old colt that's made over $100,000 and second in the Grade 3 Transylvania. Bulls Bay is on the outside. The stablemate is on the inside. And right here, this is how you want to see Works beginning. I'm very, very happy with the first part of the work. But as we go through this, and Tom will pick it up here, are we as happy as the work goes on and comes towards a close?
Well, anytime you're preparing for a race and you're putting a horse in company, you want to see them as competitive as possible. And obviously at the finish line, you want to have that horse, the horse you're targeting for the big race, look like he's full of run and ready to run in that race. You don't get that from Bulls Bay here. He's not going to get by a stablemate, nor would he if he'd been called upon even more than he already is. But when you look at the rider's hands, you'll see that he is going to be asked and called upon, and the inside horse is not and could have drawn off at any particular point. I will say this about Graham Motion's horses. Better Talk Now used to work in company, and he wouldn't get by a stablemate either, but he always showed up on Saturday.
Yeah, and this horse, I mean, when you look at his form, he's just not as good on polytrack, and I think that that's going to stand to him on Saturday. He ran third to Rachel Alexander, beating a length and a half in the Woodward, but then when you look at the Hollywood Gold Cup, he got beat 12 lengths to Rail Trip, and I just don't think he's the same horse on this surface.
I agree with you, Frank. The final time, 101.3 under jockey Jeremy Rose. I think if you move this work about 300 feet to the infield on the conventional training track, which is conventional dirt there, you might see a different workout.
Maybe the dirt mile will be rained out and run on the training track.
Yeah, no call for that. 5 furlongs, 101.3, as you saw Bulls Bay preparing for the synthetic dirt mile, and his biggest win was on the conventional dirt in the Whitney. That was 2 starts ago for him, and then the third to Rachel Alexandra in the Woodward. Let's turn our attention back to the turf course, though. The Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. There is certainly depth here once again this year as we take a look at the pre-entries, and some of these horses may pull some surprises when we get to the post-draw, but right now these are the horses that are pointing towards the race. Pure Clan actually worked about 6 days ago. We're going to focus in on her work. It was at Churchill Downs, 5 furlongs over a fast track. Steve Schmeltz up in this work.
Yeah, this is a very, very good filly. I mean, she's done so well in her career, 8 for 15 lifetime, and she's going to work on the main track here. Don't be alarmed, because if you look down at her workout pattern, this is always what trainer Bobby Holthus does. He works this filly on the main track. I'm guessing, 1, because she handles it, and 2, maybe she does a little too much on the dirt, but she clearly is moving very, very well here in the early stages of the work. I don't see any reason to knock her so far.
No, definite maintenance work here for Pure Clan. She's coming off the Flower Bowl victory with Julian Leparoux on that particular day, but she has made a good deal of money on the dirt as well as the grass, so she's proven on both surfaces. She seems to be getting over it fine, but you're not going to see her called upon very much. This work is an in-hand work.
I mean, she was coming into the race last year here at Santa Anita, and she was in the same form she's in this year. She was in great form, and she got well beaten in that race. She finished 10th of 10. She finished last in the race last year. I'm not sure how much she's going to love it out here again this year.
Tom, for those just getting initiated to workouts, why are we seeing some horses prepare for grass races on the main track and other horses prepare for grass races by preparing on the turf?
I think as a trainer, you want to decide what you want to do with your horse. If you want to get a lot out of a specific work, you'll put them on the surfaces they run on, and that's why you'll see a lot of grass horses work on the grass. On the other hand, if you feel your horse is dead fit and you want to do something that's just enough to keep them on that fitness level, then you will see the horse work on a surface that may not be the surface they're running on. That way they won't do too much when the time comes to run their race.
And I'll back it up with turf condition as well. A prime example was this weekend. Gio Ponte and Diamondrella were working at Belmont. The rain-softened turf course, Angel Penna said, it's not safe enough for my filly Diamondrella. I'll work her on the main track. Trainer Christophe Clement said, it's fine for me. We're just going to go a slow half in 52. I'll keep Gio Ponte on the turf. So weather condition has something to do with it as well.
Your calendar reads November 2nd. When we return, we'll turn to the Works calendar, and it reads Juvenile and Juvenile Fillies. Also, Graham Cunningham, our special Betfair correspondent, returns for analysis of the European shippers. It's all coming up when we return on The Works. You're watching The Works, Breeders' Cup 2009 on TVG, and on this Monday, we now look at the calendar and we look at the Juvenile and Juvenile Fillies. Here are the pre-entries for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. We were talking earlier about trainer Bob Baffert having always a princess in here. Line Luck who beat Always a Princess last time out when winning the Oakleaf in here as well. And then you obviously have horses from East and Midwest.
Yeah, Always a Princess, of course, for trainer Bob Baffert. Went from a sprint to a route last time out and ran pretty well after setting the fractions in the Oakleaf Stakes. This was her earlier this week, and let's take a look at her. She's working with a stablemate here. We're going to watch her come down the stretch. Stablemate on the inside, the Grade 1 place filly on the outside. And, you know, she doesn't finish up here and doesn't go by a workmate. Some cause for concern, Tom.
I think a cause for concern. We've watched a lot of Baffert horses work in company on this show, and he likes to see his horses go by their workmate. You're not going to get that here.
That is
the filly that beat Always a Princess last time out is Blind Luck. She won the Oakleaf for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer. A very different filly when you look at her physically, Frank. This filly, Always a Princess, more robust. Blind Luck a little lighter and got a strange tail carriage back there when we get a look at her.
Yeah, but I'll say Always a Princess. I love this work, and I don't agree with you guys at all. I think she's going to run a bang-up race. But as far as the last time out, she finished second to this filly right here, Blind Luck. And I just don't see this filly coming into the race in 100% shape. Now, she's all right and she works decently and everything, but I don't see this as a winning move.
And when you're watching Blind Luck right there, you got to say, though, one thing you do see is her ears are forward. She's kind of waiting for a command. So you know that at least she's comfortable during the work, despite the way she may look traveling.
And then there is Negligee for trainer John Terranova, who impressed you in the Alcibiades, Tom. Does she impress you here in this work?
Well, I want to see the same thing I saw in the Alcibiades because she ran a huge race that day, had to wait for room, and when she got it, she took off. She may have only won by a half a length, but if the hole had opened up earlier, she would have won by much, much further. And, you know, Negligee goes about her business okay here. She's getting out a little bit. You see that right rein sort of dangling there, and all the encouragement you're going to see from the rider is going to be from the inside hand, the left hand. I'd like to see her keeping a straighter course than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, head up and a lot of wasted action with the legs, but that wasted action clocks up a decent time. She went 46-4 in some pretty good splits, so maybe this is just her.
The morning before, Beautician got out real early, and that is kind of Ken McPeak's custom here. And so we just caught the last part of Beautician.
Oh, looks good, Todd.
Outstanding. Walter Blum Jr. aboard, but he always looks good in the irons. And Beautician would complete the half mile in 49-2. But again, it's not about those final times because you can take a look at Negligee, very quick work, maybe not making a great impression. Beautician, very methodical work here.
If you can see it.
Yeah. Then there is Bickerson's.
Yeah, Bickerson's for Kelly Breen. This is a filly that shows pace in the afternoon. And you can tell that from this work here. The rider's sitting against her, a little bit of restraint there. And what do you think about down the lane here, Tom? Is she a little erratic for you?
Work worth talking about because, again, Bickerson's a horse that's not keeping a straight course. You can see the rider just correct her, try to get her to the inside. He'll have to do it again near the wire. She's getting out. That is a cause for concern.
You guys don't have a lot of positive things to say about some of these works here in the juvenile.
Well, we're narrowing down the juvenile field very nicely.
Yeah. All right.
That's what I've always said about the work show, Todd. It's not always the one that work well. It's the ones that don't attract to the eye, and you can throw them out and then hone in on some of the others.
That's what I've said about working with you guys on the show. Yeah. Let's take a look at the juvenile. Looking at Lucky, probably the post-time favorite, or you look at this list and see someone else, maybe, Frank?
No way. Looking at Lucky, he's a definite favorite.
The funny bone?
Yeah, no,
that's your man?
No, please. Looking at Lucky. Hey, babe, no way.
All right, you'll have to answer that phone call. Let's start with Looking at Lucky, though. Looking at Lucky was out this morning here at Oak Tree at Santa Anita. Joe Steiner aboard, will work in company. The distance they're working here, a half mile.
This is a horse that has been very, very impressive in all his starts out here on the West Coast. He's 4 for 4 for trainer Bob Baffert, and what a good-looking individual. It's amazing he could win so early on in his career and win going long, but look at him here with Joe Steiner, just a big, long-rangey 2-year-old. He's going to jump in with a stablemate here and just absolutely move effortlessly over the ground here, and he is firing at all cylinders. As the work progresses, he gets a little quicker. Right now, he jumps into his work, and I love the way this horse works and the way he's moving early on.
He works really, really well and causes a pause on whether Richard's Kid is the one that has given Baffert his best chance to win. Looking at Lucky's going to look just like that, which is a great view of a horse with a terrific stride and sitting very still on top of him when he passes his stablemate. There's talk that he kind of waits on horses when he passes them in his races. You don't see that in this work at all. He goes right on by, goes about his business. These are the kind of works that Baffert puts out there that signal his horses are ready to run.
That's right.
Looking at Lucky is ready to roll.